Scene 1. Exterior. Mountain outpost. Night. An outpost covered in a 3-inch layer of snow. It's all in hibernation except for a trail of smoke coming from the roof. The front of the outpost is labelled with a rusty sign above a metal doorway that says New Sparta, Outpost 9Y, Marionetta CE 2064. 3 Athenian soldiers approach in an armoured vehicle and park at the end of a tired mountain road. They get out and grab bags from the trunk, tossing them into the snow like careless airport baggage handlers. The youngest, Dawkins, drops one. He's pretty average looking, with a hollow face and nervous eyes.
God damn it, Dawkins. Can you keep hold of one fucking bag?
Sorry.
Right. Then pick it up.
Yeah, right, sorry.
There's some C4 in the back left pocket, beneath those maps.
Dawkins searches, but to no avail.
The maps, Dawkins. Coordinates. They're laminated. Fuck's sake.
He moves forward and grabs the bag off of Dawkins. Door's ready, Des. Where's the plastic?
Here.
He tosses it. Shit! Oh, you out your goddamn mind? You're gonna kill me soon. You know that, right? Got the charges?
I've got everything you need. I do prepare for stuff like this, you know.
Says the man who tossed a C4 charge 10 feet across a mountaintop. They fix the C4 to the sides of the doorway, then walk away.
They're remote explosives. They only detonate if I trigger them. As you'll no doubt find out.
He presses down on the red button, detonating the C4 and leaving a chasm in its wake. Alright then. He gestures to Dawkins. Oi! Oi! Spartan! Stop fucking stargazing!
Sorry, sir, but I'd appreciate it if you didn't call me that.
Look, this is your second... First? Really? First? Right, well, this is your first mission outside the Lone House, and you think you can talk back to us like that? Keep fucking talking, and it'll be your last mission as well, and not just out of Lone House. They enter, interior, outpost. It's not completely dark. There are hints of light from sleeping machinery and oil lamps. Scattered around the main room are vague signs of human habitation, half-eaten bread, a dirty pillow, etc.
Besides, you're quite a lot like a Spartan. Dumb as fuck, a little scrawny for your age, and you'd love to be on your knees in front of the great Aegita Marionetta.
I don't know about all that. At least new Spartans are capable of following orders. Wham! Athenian Soldier 2 opens a door, and in a flash, he's taken out. Panic ensues as Athenian Soldier 1 and Dawkins fire senselessly, with bullets ricocheting off every wall. One hits Athenian Soldier 1, who yells. Suddenly, his gun is yanked out of his hand, and he turns around to see the shadow point the gun right at his head. The shadow shoots, and turns to Dawkins, who immediately throws up his arms.
Please! No, it's my first time!
This is a surrender, right?
Yes! Yes!
The shadow lowers his gun.
Good. Stop shaking. I'm not going to kill you.
Okay.
You said this was your first mission, right? How old are you?
16.
The shadow steps to the light and we can see that he's shockingly young. Cyrus, 16, is a Eurotan Immortal, a skilled warrior and munitions expert. He's about 5'9", with overgrown hair that goes down in small streaks over his eyes. He looks a bit like a half-assed goth, a little unfitting in his black and gold uniform. He's eerily intense, the glare in his eye that never really fades.
Same, actually. Cyrus.
He reaches out a hand, but Dawkins recoils, mainly due to the fact that it's covered in blood. Cyrus checks his hand and realises.
Ah, shit. Sorry. Look, I'll clean this up.
He walks over to the tap across the room and starts to wash his hands.
You weren't close to either of those two, were you? Not your brother or uncle or...
Des
He gestures to one of the bloodied bodies on the floor.
was my sergeant, but he never liked me much. Honestly, he was a bit of a dick.
Dick? Yeah. Sure sounded like it. On your knees in front of Mario, eh? Not exactly a joyous situation.
Dawkins is in an elevated state of shock.
Mario? You mean...
Marionette, yeah. I mean, you have heard of him.
Of course, but I thought he was like, I don't know, a god? They told us you lot worshipped him.
Us lot.
Spartans? Eurotans?
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. He's a hero, sure, but no. He's not a god.
But you're from Eurotas, right?
Cyrus nods.
I mean, I thought everyone there. I mean, you seem so.
Dawkins seems to lose his words in his mouth. He doesn't want to say the wrong thing.
Is it just you here?
Well, yeah, until 10 minutes ago, yeah. I've been here about a week on orders of my commander, Rix. Apparently some of your plans got through to our lot, and they didn't want you ransacking the place. It's quite nice, actually. I wish you hadn't come. I'll have to head back now. Hey, that's fucking shots.
Dawkins tries to interject to find the meaning of the last sentence, but Cyrus continues, a little more grounded.
It gets me away from Eurotas for a bit, you know?
Don't you get a little scared? By yourself?
No, not really. Besides, your lot aren't really going to do much, are they?
He gestures to the bodies, revealing a golden logo.
Holy shit!
He staggers.
You're an immortal! I thought you meant to be the best!
Well, they wouldn't just send some foot soldier to an outpost for fun, would they? But I digress.
He pulls out a gun and points it at Dawkins.
What did you want? Why did you come here? Rix won't tell me what I'm supposed to be protecting. What were you looking for?
I mean, I don't know. They wouldn't tell me anything. The orders were to clear out the outpost and set up a flare when it's secure, then leave some boxes.
A flare? Who the fuck's gonna see a flare from here? That's bullshit.
I swear!
Okay. Fine.
Rather abruptly, Cyrus walks out, then returns moments later with a flare gun in hand. He steps outside onto a balcony and he shoots it, then re-enters.
If they see it, they'll come and rescue you. But I somehow doubt it. I'll tell the brass when I get home that you turned on your elders and helped me take them. They'll buy it. It wouldn't be the first time.
You've killed someone before?
They ever tell you about the 27th?
No.
Of course they didn't. Basically, the regiment I was in at the time had this absolute devil spawn of a sergeant called Liston.
Dawkins' expression changes into one of realization and rage. He'd clearly heard of him.
Right, well, you guys sent an entire regiment of your own to take out this one guy, and I was sent to protect him. Lo and behold, you lot turn up in droves, but one day later, almost all of the regiment have bravely sacrificed themselves for the good of Athenia. In actual fact, your entire fucking squad, save about 10 people, agreed to surrender to New Sparta as long as Liston was killed. And look, you can imagine how good it looks for me if I come back with a whole parade. So, naturally, I hold up my end of the bargain.
He minds holding something, followed by a slitting motion.
Bye-bye, Liston. So, instead of me calling in the dogs, I say that the group bravely rebelled against the other 10 after Liston was killed. And, well, it's not like any of them aren't gonna exactly vouch for me after that, so...
And what happened to the 10 who didn't want to go through with it? Are you gonna take me to New Sparta?
Someone will.
He looks out the window. Another armoured vehicle in a different paint approaches.
But I've got to head out. Someone's here.
How?
You guys must have hit a trip while on the way. New Sparta's got cameras everywhere.
He stutters awkwardly, his newfound confidence shattering at a hint of emotion, then looks around pointlessly, and then down to the floor.
Bye. Maybe you'll catch me when I'm on my knees in front of Chancellor Hamilton.
Dawkins smiles for the first time, and Cyrus returns it with a mock salute. He exits the outpost and walks out, painfully underdressed, into the heavy snow around him. The vehicle's beams shine through the white. Cyrus approaches the car and looks into the driving window.
Citizen?
Cyrus nods.
Arm out, please.
Cyrus puts his arm out and closes his eyes. The driver pulls out something between a gun and a needle and shoots Cyrus in the wrist. He winces, then collapses. The driver drags him into the back seat and ties him in the seatbelt before getting back in the front and driving away. Immortals Episode 1, Linked and Abandoned, podcast version. featuring Mick Weiss, Billy Beef King, Johnny Kimmins, and James Osborne, as well as Rach Holloway, Ludo Gibson, Felix Holloway, and Harriet Fruin, Sarah King, Finn Morrisroe, Podge Hill, and Sia Ribeiro, as well as Ozzy Johnson, Jamie Robinson, Tabby Douglas, Tash Rowe, and Keiti Velabenthan. Immortals was written, directed, scored, and produced by Rachel Holloway. Scene 2. Exterior. Eurotas. Daytime. A father and son walk down on a small path in front of a large hill, the father lagging behind slightly. Elio, 16, is someone who radiates energy, intensity, and idealism. He's clearly intelligent. You can see it immediately in the inquisitive and analytical expression he so often wears. Both of them look very nervous. Elio less erratic, but a little more anxious. Elio's father, Pablo, 42, has an aura of a scared and confused child, and he seems to breathe like he's in constant discomfort. He's the shadow of something once beautiful, and his mere essence is tragic. An ex-immortal, Pablo is haunted by unknown ghosts. We pan to a large screen that shows a younger, strapping Pablo posing with a new Spartan flag. The poster is a message proclaiming, "Call from an immortal! Give us a hand!" Pablo looks at it with hatred and disgust, before grabbing Elio by the scruff of the neck.
I asked them to take that down. Years ago, they said they'd speak to Jada personally.
He smiles bitterly and squeezes Elio a little tighter.
Listen, Elio, whatever they tell you about loyalty or superiority or relentlessness is worthless. Entirely.
We turn around and see it's coming from a man who's being dragged away by 2 armed guards.
Let go of me! Let go of me!
What the fuck?
Help me! Please, help me!
One of the guards strikes him and he squeals.
Falcon Arrow! You're immortal! Falcon Arrow! You must know what they've done to us!
He turns to Elio.
Kid, listen to me! You've got to...
They drag him away from an appalled Elio and throw him into the back of a truck at the bottom of the hill.
Just block us out, okay?
He erratically grabs at his pocket and pulls out a hip flask. I'm surprised they even want me.
Of course they want you. Look at you. They'll be advertising their recruitment drives by this time next year.
Commander Vix went like that.
Ricks can fuck off as far as they're concerned. It's people like Kansas who matter, and Johnson, Peterson, and the other Polemarchos.
Pablo's words are erratic and slurred, as if it takes effort to find each one.
What does Ricks have against you?
I overheard him saying I'm unproven. Only the best of the best, he says.
I knew Jack when he was first raised to sergeant. Trust me, he wasn't shit then. It was Ricks who led us to the mass.
Pablo loses the ability to continue, realising he's delved too deep into his trauma. Exterior, McCullen's driveway. They start to walk up a long winding road. There are gold statues and regal banners paving the way, as well as these large stone torches. There's an expansive mansion on the top. Well, he has something against me. Maybe the fires.
You said you had nothing to do with those.
I didn't, but he thinks I did. I won't pretend I made an effort to stop them, but I didn't start anything.
Fine.
They arrive at Exterior, McCullen's mansion. Regal, polished.
Elio?
Elio was sat down outside the building with conviction, a last gasp attempt at escape from this meeting.
It'll be over with soon.
Please, Dad.
Look, I don't blame you, but this isn't much of a choice. They wouldn't have asked you here just to humiliate you.
He comes and sits next to Elio and puts his arm around him.
Be brave, my line. Don't submit or apologise. Just keep your head high and smile, okay?
Okay. Interior, McCullen's mansion. There's an unusual vault-like door to the left of them, with a plethora of locks and other strange enforcements. A grand hallway with the entrance to McCullen's chamber lies in front. They enter. Interior, grand hallway, and walk straight through in significant silence into... Interior, waiting area. There's a large statue of Igetta Marionetta and General McCullen. McCullen is pointing an oversized blade to the sky, and Marionetta has his fist in the air. Subtle.
Quiet, my lion.
He looks around the room, trying to seem relaxed and casual.
I wouldn't put it past them to bug even this sort of meeting.
He reaches into his inside pocket, but awkwardly recoils at the last second, neglecting what we can only assume is an eagerly awaiting hip flask.
Just smile and nod. Yes?
I know. Pablo nods, somewhat reassured.
You may come in.
Interior, McCullen's chamber. The doors open mechanically. We are introduced to General McCullen, 53, who politely smiles. There's a giveaway as his smile fades, however, and we can see that he's not truly happy. He is the aura of a masked individual, a dark and nasty parasite, doing his best to appear wise and kindly. He brings a cold, dirty air with him wherever he goes. All bluster. No substance. Next to him stands Jack Ricks, 41, the commander of the Immortals. He's tall, strong and intimidating, and resembles a bull shark in most ways. His essence is one that would burn all in its vicinity. He has every appearance of a bully, which he most certainly is. Pablo stands by as Elio enters after a deep breath. The room is suitably large, coated with banners, artifacts and portraits. Mostly of McCullen himself. McCullen stands up and walks towards Elio, along with two other men who have been sitting on either side.
Good morning, Master Falconero. And Mr. Falconero. It's a pleasure to see you.
The doors close with Pablo watching disdainfully on the other side.
As I'm sure you're aware, recent conflicts have resulted in 4 spaces becoming available to our top young recruits, and as your mother constantly reminds us, you certainly fit into that category.
Does Mum talk about me often, sir?
That's none of your business, and you'll speak when you're spoken to.
I just was.
Now, due to certain circumstances, we're unable to hold the appropriate ceremony to celebrate the nominations, so this will have to do.
He gestures to the room at large, then to the badge held by Ricks.
Please hold out your arm, Master Falconero, and hand over your pocket knife.
Elio does so, and Ricks attaches the badge to his sleeve.
Elio Leonardo Jackson Falconero, by the power invested in me by the Ejecta, the Kingdom, and the new Spartan Empire, I declare you an immortal. Do you swear to it?
I do. It's as if I'm getting married.
Well, in a way you are. Marriage is a declaration of love, trust, and loyalty, after all. Until death do you part.
He smiles again, despite the ominous nature of his last sentence. Elio looks back, expressionless, trying to hide his scepticism.
You'll join the others tomorrow at the Hallows at 9. It'll be a tough transition, but you look more than up to the task, doesn't he, Commander?
Certainly. Tough transition.
McCullen looks towards the door and then to Elio, who takes the hint and leaves. The other man, Peterson, 39, and Polemark, escorts him out. McCullen's demeanour then changes, crueler, nastier.
Quit barking, or you'll lose your bite.
Enough of the metaphors. Why him of all people?
You know Jane wouldn't have stopped campaigning for him.
Yes, I do.
And I couldn't keep peddling Pablo's image if his son was a punk, a reject.
Pablo's getting tired anyway. Just fade him out of the spotlight.
We already have. Look at him on the billboards and look at him now.
But the fires, Thomas. You've given me a fucking arsonist to nurture.
Exactly. Can you imagine what it would look like if the next Falconero was seen publicly setting fires? Do you know what that would do to the Immortals' image? If people see all the ex-Immortals gone to seed, with no influence over their own family, they're not going to have such a stellar reputation for much longer.
And having a Rev in the ranks will make us look good? He could go rogue for all we know. Switch allegiances for 2 fags and a lighter.
He's not a Rev, and he won't go rogue. We don't even know he set those fires.
Ricks gives a sceptical look at this statement.
Well, I don't like him regardless.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
This isn't the time to be sarcastic, Thomas.
General?
This isn't the time to be sarcastic, General. You can't just promote someone so...
There's a scuffling outside the door, and then a pause. McCullen opens them.
Any reason for your return, Master Falconero?
Yes, sir. My pocket knife. He gestures to McCullen's enormous desk.
Of course. I'll walk out with you. Commander?
Ricks nods, and the 3 of them walk out, Elio extremely uncomfortable. As they leave the larger hall, Elio strikes a glance at that same fortified door, so well locked and enforced. McCullen sees his pause of interest and panics.
My living quarters, Master Falconero. Not for you.
He guides Elia away as we get one last look at that mysterious door. Scene 3. Exterior. Lakeston, a dilapidated town. Day. Title: Lakeston, a city in southern New Sparta, appears on screen. It's an eerie and surreal ghost town, with abandoned factories, deteriorating complexes and a strange pronged skyscraper within our view. A regiment of about 50 enter. They're led by Robin, 20, a girl with a determined look about her.
Stay back.
She moves forwards apprehensively, trying desperately to see potential places for an ambush or a trap. Her second in command, Riley, 19, is the first to notice something's wrong. Another soldier, Anthony, 18, realises soon after.
The fuck? There may still be resistance here.
No.
She shakes her head in disbelief.
This is Lakestown.
Yeah, it is. I recognise it from the pictures. He points to the skyscraper. The Trident.
Hello? Hello?
No one's going to answer. It's empty.
It can't be.
How do we get back home?
We're nowhere near your Rotas.
We're fucked.
We're not fucked. We'll find a way out of this, I promise.
We shouldn't have retreated.
And be slaughtered one by one. We had 3 choices: retreat, surrender, or die. Do you want to die? Do you want to be a POW in the Athenian camp? No. So keep complaining and we'll leave you behind at the mercy of the Athenians on the other side of the city.
Nobody is here.
Just as he says this, there's a scrambling just around the corner and wham! Soldier 1 collapses, a gun wound in their chest. 20 or so people, all of them severely malnourished, injured, start at the soldiers. There's a mass panic, and all the new Spartan soldiers start firing at will. Then, suddenly, the scene cuts to black. Scene 4. Interior. A TV news studio. Evening. McCullen is in a studio with an overly large New Spartan flag hanging in the background. He looks pseudo-solemn, with a gaggle of people around him holding scripts, cameras and microphones.
My fellow New Spartans, I'm holding this emergency address to inform you of the tragic loss of the 57th Regiment in the ongoing conflict with the hideous Athenian forces in Baybridge. I send my thoughts and prayers out to the families of those whom we have lost, and implore you all to unite so that their sacrifice will not be in vain. We must not be disheartened. All the New Sparta that those brave soldiers fought for will be lost.
A man bursts in and waves wildly to get McCullen's attention. He rejects him with a look, trying to emphasise that he's still alive. He smiles to the camera, the same insincere smile that we've seen so many times before.
Some technical difficulties, I fear.
The man mouths 4 words.
They're alive. 57th.
McCullen is shocked but almost immediately regains his austere, professional persona, aware he's still on air. He hastens to end the announcement.
I'll now hand you back to New Sparta at 6 and Facts with Frank Hannity. Isos igeta gitsis.
The camera cuts and McCullen exits the room. Livid, we hear the distant echoes of Facts with Frank Hannity playing in the background. Interior, prison cell. About 10 members of the 57th Regiment, a few of which we recognise from Scene 3, Robin and Riley included, are sitting in a sizable cell. McCullen rushes in, and immediately they step up into a rigid salute, despite the fact that some of them are still being treated for their wounds.
My apologies for keeping you in here, but you understand that we weren't expecting such numbers. We'd been told you'd all perished in the fight.
We retreat.
Riley gives her a look to stop her talking.
We were forced back into Lakestown.
Lakestown?
Yes, sir. It was the closest place of people that we could locate. Sir, we're worried it's been taken over.
Who by?
Athenians, sir. We were attacked.
How far into Lakestown?
Robin looks a little bit confused. Is this really the question you'd ask in reply to that statement?
I need to know what exact territory they've captured. How far?
Not very. Around 20 of them just burst out from the tunnels. They looked very ill, sir. They all had cuts and rashes and sunken eyes. They must have been there for ages, sir.
What else?
Nothing, sir.
They had guns. There wasn't really time to appreciate the view.
What, did you talk to them? Approach them?
No, sir. They approached us, guns ablaze. It was the best we could do to hold them off. We lost 25 at least.
Well, we're very proud of you, all of you, and my sincerest apologies for going through such a horrible ordeal. If it's any solace, you will be seen as heroes by every Spartan citizen.
He thinks, hard and fast, desperately trying to find a solution. And one occurs to him, the evil, cunning gleam awakening in the back of his eyes.
In fact, I think it's only fair that you receive some kind of reward for your efforts. Meet me at the Immortals Training Grounds B, just west of North Hightown, 10 o'clock.
Training grounds B? Isn't that a really long walk?
You've done longer. I'll see you all then.
McCullen salutes, and they reciprocate. Then he walks away, while someone else unlocks the cell.
Surreal.
I'm not going.
What?
I can't walk another 10, 20 clacks in an hour.
But the...
Reward? I don't need a reward. I just want to get home.
We're not going to get this opportunity again, Riley. You think the General just invites people round? That's General McCullen. Even talking to him is beyond a privilege. Don't squander this.
I can't.
Fine, just don't come crying to me.
As she says this, a girl comes crying to her. Annie, Robin's sister, runs to Robin and hugs her intensely, tears of relief in her eyes. She, unlike her sister, has none of the authoritative commanding aura. However, she seems more quick-thinking and intelligent, her words coming too fast for her mouth.
Oh, thank God, Jetta. On the news they said you died. Oh, Robin.
She hugs her again, and Robin looks at her a little confused. She smiles half-heartedly at Annie's blotchy face.
Some of us escaped. We got back.
I thought you were dead.
I'm fine, we're fine. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Just tell Auntie I'm alright, okay?
Annie nods tearfully, straightening herself and taking some deep, restorative breaths.
Riley!
Riley just about musters a smile, and Annie runs over to them. Exterior. Outside. Prison building. McCullen is standing outside, panicked and paranoid, a shocking contrast to the collected and well-mannered McCullen that we've just seen. He grabs a flip phone and jams it aggressively.
Pick up, Cross, pick up! What could you possibly be?
Cross Roberts, 19. Picks up. He's an immortal, tough, sadistic and ruthless. Every kind of bully amalgamated into one entity of pure, unrelenting evil.
General.
Roberts, listen. I need you for something.
Scene 5. Interior. Warehouse 7. Training Grounds B. Evening. All the remaining members of the 57th have funneled in and are leaning against a wall. Some are near collapse. Riley is not present. Riley was right. Robin puts her arm around Anthony and pats him on the back in that way that doesn't really make the receiver feel that much better.
No, they weren't. Just lazy. I know it's tiring, Ant, but it will all be worth it. I promise.
He's late.
He's probably busy. We're not the centre of the universe, you know. Be patient.
I just want to go home. Why can't we just go back?
I'm sure the General has his reasons.
The door slowly screeches open as a dark, steel-toed boot appears in front of us. Buckles chink as we look up to see that it's Cross Roberts. He's wearing his Immortals uniform and carrying a large backpack. He looks just as nasty as he sounded on the phone, with short, unkempt hair and muscular arms. He has shark-like eyes and walks in a manner that suggests nothing but evil and violence. He surveys the room as McCullen follows.
Home sweet home. Shame they stopped using this place. Good memories.
Sorry to keep you all waiting. I had some last-minute business I had to attend to.
Robin looks at Soldier 2 as if to say, I told you so. But Soldier 2 is distracted. He's looking at concern at Cross, who's grabbing something heavy out of the bag with a malicious look emblazoned upon his face.
Don't worry about Cross, he's just helping out with some technicalities.
Anthony observes Cross's uniform and notices something. Are you an immortal?
Better. Immortal leader.
There's gasps of awe around the room as the soldiers look at him with newfound respect and admiration.
Just before we move on, can I just ask you to confirm the impression of your experiences that you've given me? You arrived in Lakestown and were ambushed by some Athenians, correct?
They all nod with varying confidence.
And you are definitely in Lakestown?
Definitely. Sir, we were right next to the Trident building.
Very well.
Suddenly, he switches to a cold and a ruthless tone, all the superficial humour gone from his expression. He looks across and nods.
Roberts?
Stand up, faces to the wall.
Understandably, there's a chorus of panic and confusion amongst the soldiers.
Just do as he says.
They hesitantly do so. Cross finally opens his bag and we see a machine gun pointed in their direction. Anthony momentarily turns back and sees the gun that's pointed right at him, and he loses it completely. Fuck! No! No, please! Cross fires, and Anthony immediately collapses. The rest panic but are all mowed down. They're too exhausted to make a proper run for it. McCullen watches as Cross ensures that there are no survivors, walking over to each of them and shooting them once in the head.
Annie, tell Annie.
Cross shoots her in the head, and like the rest, she crumbles.
Not a word of this to anyone.
Of course, sir. This will probably take a few days to clean up, so...
I'll find a way to keep people way away from here.
Scene 6. Interior. Euroton van. Manaleron outskirts. Dawn. The armoured vehicle seen in Scene 1 drives on a large motorway. Alone. Beside it is an enormous ghost town stretching far into the horizon. Cyrus is shoved in the back seat, unconscious. He wakes up groggily as the picture around him starts to come into focus. The driver is on the phone.
Yeah, just around Manaleron. Yeah, it's horrible. Can't believe they'd do something so heartless. Such a rich history. Exactly. One of our proudest cities, and it's completely ruined. Is he asleep? Yeah, he's still asleep. Yeah, I got the memo when I left, but are you sure? It seems a little... Oh, okay. No, I'm not questioning the authority. No, I swear. I'll do it. Do it if I have to.
Cyrus looks out the window and sees Manaleron in his dilapidated state. All the buildings are run down, dilapidated, dead. He sees a stadium with the letters Manaleron Colosseum engraved on it, and is baffled.
Manaleron?
Manaleron is one of New Sparta's largest cities. It is near ruins. The driver realises Cyrus is awake and panics, swerving the car momentarily before braking. He turns back to see a thoroughly confused Cyrus.
What the?
How long have you been awake for?
Just now. Where are we?
The driver doesn't answer. Cyrus squints and looks at the stadium to check if it definitely says what he thinks it does. And it does. In a split second, he realises the best course of action is to play dumb.
How did you wake up?
Search me. It's the first time this has ever happened.
I gave the right... They told me 5 minutes... Fuck! Fuck!
He takes a left turn, and Cyrus notices a sign at the crossroads. It says Lonas, Athenia to the left, and Eurotas west to the right. All the more confusing. Why turn left? Cyrus is becoming very suspicious, but continues to act as if he's oblivious. An object resting on the passenger seat catches his eye. A gun! Shit! While Cyrus tries to figure out his next move, the driver's phone bleeps and he checks it. He texts something back and puts it down rapidly. They keep driving as Cyrus eyes the gun. The driver receives another text and reads it. Cyrus reaches for the gun again, but just before he can get his hands on it, BAM! A powerful gunshot strikes the van and shatters the boot window.
Shit! It's Athenian snipers.
The van speeds up.
We'll be out of their range by now.
And why are we in Athenian territory?
Shortcut?
Shortcut? Are you trying to get us killed? What do you think would... There are usually guards around here.
Yeah, always.
Then why drive here?
The driver panics and decides that he can't go on. He has to execute the plan. Now!
We've got a flat tyre. Gonna have to pull over. Just stay right there.
Cyrus slowly gets a knife from his belt as the driver pulls over. The driver grabs his gun, exits the car, and kneels down. And then he gets up, with his gun pointed at the backseat window. But Cyrus isn't there. He's attacked from behind. Cyrus stabs him in the front so quickly we barely have time to see it. He grabs the gun. He gets up, shoots once into the front of the car to make it look like the driver was shot through the front window by an Athenian sniper. No need though, as crash! A real gunshot hits the rear again. Cyrus ducks for cover, runs to the front seat, only to realise the driver still has the key. Shit! He rushes out again, finds the key in the driver's pocket, jumps to the back seat, gradually makes his way into the front, puts in the ignition key, and yes! It starts. He slams down on the pedal as bang! Another gunshot hits the car. But he escapes, rounding the bend away from the rock chasm. Hopefully, to momentary safety. Scene 7. Exterior. Afternoon. The Hallows. Immortals training ground. It's clearly a facility built for the elite, surrounded by startlingly tall trees, creating the feel of a woodland coliseum. The field itself is clear, except for an extravagant assault course in the middle. There are 20 or so teenagers around 16, 17 years old, Elio included. They're all looking at Rix attentively as he makes your typical military hype-up speech.
As I'm sure you're all aware, we have a new recruit on our hands, who will no doubt contribute a lot to the Immortals programme.
Milo Parks, 16, a newer member of the Immortals, starts to applaud, but is cut off quickly by Rix. He's quiet, nebbish, and unassuming.
Don't clap. I didn't ask.
At this, Some people laugh, Cross no doubt included, and Milo puts his head down, a little embarrassed,
It's too easy.
bathing in Milo's disappointment and humiliation.
But enough of the pleasantries. All this talking's turning you all soft. Do you know what that calls for? Fights!
Fights! Heather, fights? Heather Carter, 17, is an immortal lieutenant and Elio's girlfriend, with dirty blonde hair tied back in a ponytail. She's strong, muscular and confident. She has kind eyes and a pleasant demeanour, but is often too positive that it comes across as sort of patronising.
It's just 1v1, you'll be fine.
Well, how do you win? Heather points to a very tall, muscular girl who's just floored some boy and has him in a headlock. I see.
Carter, Parks.
Heather winks and cheekily kisses at Elio, who smiles. Still looking his way, she kicks Milo in the gut and he stumbles, clutching his ribs and yelling as if he's in pain. She falters.
Oh, Milo, I'm so sorry.
She walks forward but is tripped up. It was all an act. Milo pins her down and looks up at Rix like a hopeful puppy, desperate for approval.
Point to Carter. Deceit is fine in infiltration, Mr. Parks, but not in fights. An Athenian soldier isn't going to care if you've hurt your shoulder. He'd smile and break your other one. You need to be able to defend yourself. Fight, not flight. And Carter...
Heather looks back at him.
Next time, go in for the kill. Mercy is a curse. Take a leaf from Silason's book.
Please don't.
Watch me.
Roberts!
There's a collective ducking of heads and awkward shuffling. No one wants to fight Cross. Rix considers the group, then savagely smiles.
And Falconero.
A few people wince and others laugh. The new kid? Not a fair match. Elio looks around and steps into the middle, a little nervous but still maintaining his confident demeanour. Cross steps in and pow! He sacrifices him. Elio moans in pain but blocks Cross's next attack and swipes out his leg. Cross tries to get up, but Elio, now angry, strikes him like lightning in his trachea. Desperate for breath, Cross socks Elio so ferociously that he loses a tooth. It descends into a full-on death match, but eventually a stalemate.
Too weak, Falconero. You can't hold me.
Suck my dick.
Point Roberts. No strikes to the throat.
They break the stalemate and get up, Elio brushing himself off. What? He pulls back his gun to reveal a bloodied spot where a tooth used to be. What about all that mercy is a curse bullshit? That's just off by the wayside, is it?
Don't talk back.
That makes literally no sense. None. Rix looks at him viciously but decides not to act. Elio spits some blood onto the ground, registering disgust as he does so, then walks back to Heather. How was that fine?
You had to fight Cross. That's a baptism of fire.
Still.
You'll recover. I'll find you some bandages when we get back to mine, okay?
Elio nods and smiles. We see another girl, Jess, fighting an unnamed immortal. Jess Kaluuya, 17, the second highest ranking member of the Immortals, is a deeply impressive figure. She's a certain dignity that's hard to put one's finger on immediately. Playing her opponent like Ali, she rounds him with expert footwork and stance. Her opponent is huge, but can't make significant contact and as such is getting frustrated. Stupidly, he lunges, and Jess trips him to the ground before administering a hold.
Point Kaluuya. Not terrible, Jess. Well done.
Is he always like this?
Rix, this is a good day.
Really? How do people like him survive?
By outwitting people.
Like you?
He preyed on my sympathy. There's a difference. Don't worry, it won't happen again.
Heather and Milo make eye contact and she makes a slitting throat motion. He laughs nervously. It's not a genuine threat. They're friends.
Milo's clever. Like you. That's how he survives. Also, his dad won't let him leave. How's your dad, by the way?
Not great. Exhibit 1 being the fact that you've had to ask. I know he wants to talk to your folks, he just won't. They're not getting better, Heather. Not worse, but not better. He smiles in that strange way that conveys no happiness, somewhere between a grin, a wince, and a tragic sigh.
I'm sorry.
He sends some kind of love to your mum and dad, though.
I'll tell them. Where's your mum?
No clue. She's been gone for like 3-4 weeks now.
Doing what?
I don't know. Some operation with us, 2nd Regiment. And she can't even tell me what it is, even now. Still too young, too inexperienced. Rix finishes rounding up one last fight.
Assault course in 15 minutes. Don't be late.
Everyone walks off to sit down somewhere in the area. Elio and Heather walk over to Milo, who's talking to Jess. She taps him on the shoulder and flips him the bird.
Sorry.
Don't be. It was smart. Don't try it again, though.
Milo shakes his head and laughs, eyes to the ground.
Elio, this is Jess. Jess, Elio.
Jess reaches out a hand. Elio grabs it and pulls it in for a somewhat unaffectionate hug. Not that there's any bitterness or animosity between the two, just that there's no overt warmth either. Yeah, I know. We're in the same class. How you doing?
Not bad. Tough break, by the way.
She points to Elio's missing tooth. Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Nice hit on the windpipe, though. Smart.
Oh, thanks. I saw... Wait, what the fuck? The sudden sirens are accompanied by 2 words appearing on each of the Immortals' watches. Emergency alert. Emergency alert. Emergency alert. Emergency alert. Scene 8. Interior. Elio's house. Dusk. It cuts to Elio and Heather, who are watching TV in a classy house decorated with ornaments and paintings. No bookcase can be found, which is an interesting absence in a house that looks like it ought to have one. The TV is showing another report, with Frank Hannity presenting. He's a snide, boisterous middle-aged man who spouts off his opinions on Eurotas's only TV channel every night at 6.
And why do you think we should lay off the 8th drones? They're murderers, and you want to give them a break?
That's not what
They've killed over 300 people.
Well, those numbers have been disputed.
They're machines of the enemy, and you're still somehow advocating for Revolu policy.
Elio collapses into his hands.
I'm not a Rev.
You're a Revolu sympathizer, if I've ever laid eyes on one. I've never interviewed someone with such little credibility. There's going to be an announcement from our general, not that someone like you would care, but I'm going to have to terminate this interview.
He turns to the camera and grins, revelling in censoring his latest guest.
To my viewers at home, watch the incoming announcement closely and stay vigilant. Isos igeta kitses.
How does anyone watch this?
He's a little much, but he's not wrong.
Elio looks at Heather in mild disgust. McCullen's face appears on TV and they both focus in.
My fellow news Spartans, I'm deeply sorry to have to burden you with more tragic news. It transpires that a small number of the 57th Regiment did in fact return from their battle at Baybridge last night. Unfortunately, it seems they were not alone. A group of Athenian soldiers have broken into Eurotas and are still at large.
What? Are you serious?
I understand this must be very scary for you and your loved ones, and as such I want to personally assure you all that no one else will be hurt. I have the horrible job of announcing, however, that the remaining members of the 57th were murdered by the rogue Athenian gang. We can confirm that the Athenians are currently somewhere to the west of North Hightown, and as such, we are ordering an evacuation and subsequent isolation of the surrounding area, including training grounds B1, B2, and C1. It goes without saying that security measures in and around Eurotas will be heightened indefinitely to ensure nothing like this can ever happen again. We will inform you when we locate the Athenian gang as soon as we can. Until then, I implore all of you to stay safe and supportive. Isos igeta kitsis.
That's awful.
I know, right? What a bullshit excuse to jack up surveillance.
What?
Come on, Heather. After all the heightened security, the surveillance drones, the perimeter tower project, and all that tracker shit, a group of Athenian soldiers still managed to sneak in, undisturbed, and kill every remaining member of the 57th, but no one else? I doubt it.
The PTP's only active for 30 kiloclacks on the west side.
Well, exactly. McCullen wanted more, and this is the perfect excuse.
What are you saying?
I'm saying he's lying to us.
That's Rev talk.
Are you fucking for real? Heather, I'm not breaking into authority buildings or hacking their servers. I'm just looking at the facts. I mean, why, after all their new defences, would an Athenian attempt to break in? Why would they report it so soon? I mean, how did they kill every remaining member of the 57th, but not one other person? I'm not a Rev, Heather. You know that.
Yeah, I do. But that doesn't mean that other people do too. I'm scared for you, Elio. Please.
Fine. Fine. Scene 9. Exterior. The Hallows. Morning. Elio is currently taking on the assault course and is about to finish. Jess, Milo and Heather cheer him on.
Go on, Elio.
Elio grazes his hand on the monkey bar and winces.
Just 5 more bars.
You've got this.
You're still looking at second.
He checks his stopwatch.
Now third.
Elio reaches the end and jumps down, but lands badly on his ankle. Shit!
5 minutes 40, Falcon Arrow. Mediocre.
Elio smiles sarcastically, but Rick doesn't notice. What's the point of assault courses anyway? What outpost or HQ has monkey bars in its defence system?
It's meant to be good for strength and agility.
Besides, it's fun.
For some people.
Both Heather and Jess give him a look.
What? It sucks.
Rix approaches Jess and grabs her by the shoulder.
Kaluuya, a word?
Yes, Commander.
The rest of the group leave as Jess and Rix talk privately.
I see you've been talking to our new Rev,
Rev? Who?
Falconero.
Falconero. Elio Falconero? You can't be serious.
Then she realises what she's doing and stops. Jess's beliefs are shackled by her desperation to rise up the ranks. Ergo, she never says something that could offend the authority.
Yes?
Nothing.
There's a pause as Rix tries to analyse Jess, who determinedly remains neutral in her expression.
I need you to keep an eye on him.
What do you mean?
Just tail him whenever you can and relay anything significant he does back to me. Understood?
Jess nods.
Good.
Forgive me, sir, but what exactly has he done?
Remember when Immortal Mary's College was burnt down?
The school. Yes, I was there.
That was him.
You're sure, sir?
Of course.
How do you know?
I know, and that's all you need to know.
Right. Okay. I'll keep the arsonist caged until further notice.
Good.
He salutes Jess, who salutes back. The image of the burning school fades onto screen. Exterior, Mortal Mary's College. Flashback, day. Posters, chairs and desks are alight. A figure can be seen watching the destruction with his hands in his pockets before walking away with an eerily casual stride. Slowly, the flames start to extinguish and the room returns to normal. The title above the door changing from Immortal Mary's P1 to NSCF P2. It's a different classroom and a new day. Scene 10. Interior. Education block corridor. Day. 30 or so people are lined up outside the classroom, Elio and Jess included. Did they ever catch the Athenian gang?
No new updates, so I guess not. Why the inverted commas?
Just seems a little bit too convenient, don't you think? Why would they report that the 57th were dead if they weren't sure? Jess looks around to see if anyone could be listening.
Fair point. Silence! Good. Come in.
They all filter in, single file, sitting in their chairs according to how they were lined up. All faces are deadpan. The classroom is littered with propaganda posters and questionable textbooks, the most egregious of which is labelled The Dirty Athenian, How to Recognise a Rogue Parasite. The drawing of an Athenian is laughably offensive caricature, reminiscent of the Nazis' depiction of the Jews in the 1930s.
Right. You know the drill. Take out your maths folders, turn to your progress point, and get on with it.
They do so. The question Elio is currently on reads, An Athenian battalion contains 10,000 soldiers. Each soldier will kill an average of 2 new Spartan citizens per day, if allowed to do so. A Rev wants to delay a drone strike for an extra 2 days, allowing the forces to advance to Kostas. How many new Spartan deaths will the Rev's decision cause? Are you seeing this?
Just focus on the numbers, ignore the words.
Ignore them? You can't just ignore them.
You can. I do.
Well, I'm not you.
Guess not.
They get back to work. Elio keeps flipping through the book to find a question with no blatant propaganda attached. As soon as he finds one, he jumps straight into it at a staggering pace. He makes no errors. He even circles a typo in one of the questions and makes a passive-aggressive note of it. We zoom out to see the classroom entirely from a bird's-eye view. Everyone is in perfectly ordered rows with the same desks and uniform. The only exceptions are Elio and Jess. Jess is non-stop, steady but unrelenting. Elio is manic. After making his way through another question, he reads one so egregious that he can't contain himself. What? Corinne, 15, a snide, vulture-like tattletale, hears Elio and sticks her hand up, arrogant, supercilious and determined. The teacher comes over and Corinne mutters something to her. Angered, the teacher struts over to Elio.
We've had an anonymous complaint about your disruption, Elio.
Anonymous? Really? The teacher strikes him on the back of the neck.
I'm warning you. I've had it with your attitude.
Are you serious? She's right there. The teacher slaps him again and Elio winces. This one must have been a little harder. Elio gives Corinne the middle finger with equal vigour as soon as the teacher turns away.
Just because you're an immortal doesn't mean you're invincible.
That is literally what it means.
Shut up, Elio.
You instigated this.
Just stop talking to me.
Gladly.
What the?
All the students rush from their desks to the window to see what's going on, Jess and Elio included. There's a large hole in the border fence and a battered but sturdy van broken down on the other side. Cyrus staggers out, looking from side to side before being surrounded by guards who've come from the other side of the gaping hole.
You've got to be fucking kidding.
What?
That's Cyrus.
Cyrus? Jess nods, looking on in total disbelief, although there's a certain gleam in her eyes that suggests that she had a little suspicion who it might be the moment she saw the van. Cyrus looks exhausted and very unhappy about having 5 guns pointed right at his face. He shows them his Immortals badge and yells something about an outpost.
Talk to my commander.
He enunciates his words as if he's talking to a toddler.
My commander. Look, are you dense?
They point their guns threateningly and he rolls his eyes, Elio looking on adoringly. One of them pushes him forward and he complies with his hands up, but another guard gets too close and BAM! Cyrus strikes him in the temple so quickly it's like a reflex reaction. The soldiers are just as quick to react. They raise their guns. He stares them down. It cuts to black. End episode. This has been Immortals Episode 1, Read Through. Thank you to all my exceptionally talented cast for joining me in this process, and thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, then that's perfect, because there's 7 more episodes just waiting in the wings. Immortals Podcast Read Through is a non-commercial entity.